In Napa Valley, there's a rich guy who has built a castle on the side of a hill. This is no Disneyland made-up castle. It's not a Motel 6 with a plywood tower attached at one end. This castle is all cut stone, 6-inch thick oak planks, and wrought iron. It must have cost $500 million. It's the most authentic thing you're liable to see this side of the Atlantic. The occasion for this anachronistic excess is a vineyard, Amorosa Vineyards. They make wine, but they don't sell it in grocery stores. It's only available in the basement tasting room of the castle. So I suppose from a promotional point of view, this whole thing might make some sort of business sense. They have tours for $25 a head. They can rent the property out for banquets, meetings, and the rooms of the castle serve as office space for the people who manage the business. Still, I can't help thinking that this is another one of those rich man fantasies masquerading as a business. So many of the vineyards in Napa Valley are, which leads to the wine industry joke. How do you make a small fortune in the wine business? Well, you start with a big fortune. Bing, bang, boom. There you go. Come back at 10. I'll do all my blue material. All in all, I have to say, it's a good show. I enjoyed myself. And as we drove down the winding road through the beautifully laid out vineyards, all golden with autumn in the autumn, it struck me that what we had just experienced was not just the singular fantasy of one wealthy man, but the collective fantasy of all wealthy conservative men. Essentially, what these people want is a return to those halcyon days of yore, days that we call the Dark Ages. The Lord lived in his castle, or as they do nowadays, his fortified community, surrounded by his faithful minions, the Filipino nanny, the Mexican groundskeeper, the butler he imports from England, and of course a small army of private security thugs to enforce his will and protect his privacy. While outside, half-starved, illiterate peasants do all the work. There were no taxes to speak of. There was small government. The Lord got to do just whatever he wanted to do. His will was the law. There was no need to spend money on public services like hospitals or roads or education. There was no public. Everybody, essentially, who wasn't a lord, was the property of the Lord. It's a capitalist dream come true. It's the triumph of property rights. It was an age of faith and miracles. God was not some abstract principle. God was a physical force that moved in people's everyday lives. Who needs health care when you have prayer? If a child dies, that's God's will. If you starve to death, that's God's will. The rich were rich because God wanted them to be rich. The poor were poor because God wanted them to be poor. Everybody had a place, and it was all God's will. And then the Black Plague came and provided divine justice for everybody. And throughout it all, there was the church standing by with their racks and torture devices ready to burn anybody who wanted to argue with these principles. Yes, the new dark age with electricity, indoor toilets, and a helipad on the roof of the castle, for those rich enough to afford them, is the dream of conservative America. This is what they want the United States to look like. And I suppose whether it is a nightmare or the very best dream you have ever had, all depends on which side of that 30-foot-high stone wall you happen to be born into. This is the future of America that is being created piece by piece, bit by bit, stone upon stone, every time you vote another Republican into office. It's a wonder to me that these people simply don't get lynched, let alone elected. But I digress. I suppose the reason is that in the dark depths of our hearts, we all think that one day we will be the Lord, no matter how improbable that may be. If we just work hard enough and long enough, we will be rich. And that is the great genius of conservatism. They have convinced the majority of the American people that the dreams of the rich are their dreams. That we are all the same. We're all in the same boat together. Except I've got all the stuff and you have nothing. The medieval peasant, toiling away in the fields, year after year, generation after generation, illiterate, diseased, and often starving, had no such illusions. In this one respect, he is smarter than we are. Thanks for watching. Bye.